Well, thanks for having me. First of all, really excited about being here with Coach Stoops and the rest of the staff, and back in the SEC and among some good college football. So, thanks for having me.
What attracted you to the job? What made this appealing for you? Is something you wanted to go after?
Well, I think the conference itself as well. I mean, it's a very competitive league. Coach Stoops and his staff. I mean, just the Stoops name itself is when you talk about defensive football. I mean, any Stoops brother comes up. So I had a prior relationship with Coach Stoops and just came back around, and opportunity was there. So what a great place to be.
What was that prior relationship with Coach Stoops? How did you know him?
Well, kind of the whole defensive line thing. He's got a certain way of things that he wants it. He wants it a certain way. A guy that mentored me is a guy named Pete Jenkins, who's just an awesome human being, an awesome coach, and I think that style of football is something that Coach Stoops is looking for, and something that I can help him with.
What kind of coach do you consider yourself? How would you sort of?
You mean like the players' coach or the whatever?
Yeah.
I won't say I'm quite the players' coach. I'm not quite the grumpy coach either. I'm just the coach that enjoys coaching football and coach. I enjoy the guys. I think football is about the players. If that's what you're looking for, I think the game's supposed to be fun. I think when we get into this competitive environment, we lose the fact that it is a game and we're all dealing with young men, and it's not as much a business as we like to make it out. So I'm pretty much I like having fun and coaching the guys.
What's your first impressions of your position group so far?
First impression, young, inexperienced. So there's a lot of guys that we have coming in that are the expectations are higher. I think we have to play better than we did the year before. But with youth, that comes. So I think I'm coming in right at the right time, where guys are going to have to step up and mature and play better this year.
Did you break down film of? Did you watch all the games and break down film yet, or how do you go about assessing kind of what you have?
Oh yeah, we've been watching film since I walked on campus, and what a great environment for a young coach like myself to see so much football and be so detailed and in depth. But watching film, we have watched a lot of film. We have found, I guess, some answers to our problems that we're going to get corrected this spring.
What kind of things are you seeing?
Just technique stuff, things that come with being young guys, technique, not be able to handle the duration of the game, just young guy stuff, the intensity that we should play at. I think it's one thing we had to address was playing at a high level to compete in this conference and play for championships.
You got a feel of what areas you're going to be recruiting in or moving forward?
I believe I'm going to be in Georgia, North Georgia, where there's tons of talent, and hopefully we can get guys up here to Lexington and want to be a part of what we got going here. I think we have a great thing going here. And like I said, I'm excited. It's like we're all stepping in here at the right time. Coach Stoops has done a great job of getting this thing going in the right direction. And I think we'll be able to attract good players that will help us continue to win ball games.
They've had some success with junior college players coming in, especially on the defensive line the last couple of years.
Sure.
Is that an area that you hope to continue to mine? Or?
I think we got to find the best players. I think whether it's junior college or high school, I think you evaluate as a coaching staff, you're thorough with your work, and at the end of the day, you find the best players available, whether it's high school or junior college.
Is it nice for you to be able to work under a defensive-minded coach like Mark, and what has that relationship been like so far between you guys?
Oh, I think it's awesome, especially when you're a D-line guy. You get around there's so much coaching knowledge in our room right now. Of course, with Matt House being new defensive coordinator, Coach Stoops has years and years of experience, and then Coach Hood, who's been coaching defense and has been a head coach. I'm just enjoying it. I'm the young guy. I'm soaking it all in, and I think it's just a great environment for our coaching staff right now.
Coach, you replace Coach Brumbaugh, who had a reputation as being a really, really solid teacher, and you also have a reputation as being an established teacher. Could you talk a little bit about your role as a teacher of young men on the football field?
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about. Coach Brumbaugh and I both learned from a great guy by the name of Pete Jenkins, who's still in it right now and coaching in our league. So we've learned a lot from him over the years. as a young coach, I was always taught that coaching is teaching and teaching is motivating kids to learn a skill. So I think the same thing you take in a classroom, you apply to the football field. So, yeah, going back to answering the question, what kind of coach am I? Yeah, I would say that a teacher would be the best way to describe what I do.
Familiarity with the freshman defensive line class that'll be here in the fall.
I'm trying to get to know them. I've been calling, reaching out, calling parents of the incoming guys and the current guys here as well, and just really making myself available and saying, hey, look, I'm the new guy. Here's my number. If there's anything you need or any questions that you have, please give me a call. Feel free to come by and see us anytime. So I've made myself open to all the guys here and coming in the fall.
What is it about Coach Jenkins' defensive line philosophy that makes his protege so successful?
I think it's just a long track of success. I think, his background is kind of like the rest of us. He started as a middle school coach and developed ways as a coach to get guys to learn and play at a certain way. And I think now you're taking that and you're putting those skills with exceptional athletes, and it's just meshing together in a great way. So I think his teaching, he's not only a teacher of players, but he's done a great job of teaching young coaches like myself as well.
What's your strategy for spring practice? What will you be keeping a close eye on with your guys?
Everything. We got to be more aggressive. We got to play faster, and we have to learn how to play college football. And you never take for granted that because they're great athletes that they know what they're doing. I think with big guys, even though you bring them in and they have all these ratings and all this other stuff, they still have to learn how to play college football, particularly the closer you get to the ball. There's just so much teaching going on, excuse me, that I have to teach everything. I have to keep an eye on everything.
Are there any guys that really stuck out on film when you went back and watched, or even so far in workouts this spring?
I tell you what, Adrian Middleton is a good, solid player. He's a young kid, plays a sophomore this year, I believe, has got 2 more years with us. I'm expecting a lot out of him, his leadership. He plays every position on the line of scrimmage, and hopefully he rubs off on a lot of those young guys that we have in our room.
Coach, Adrian played at 300 last year.
Yes.
This spring weighs 275. Was that on purpose?
I think so. I think he's done a great job of trimming on some weight. I think coming in, he thought he had to be this big guy to hold up in the line of scrimmage. I think he's realized that he can do it if he can move a little better. And I think the game's getting that way. I think, with the different personnel groups you see now, the game's getting faster. Not so much more physical, but a lot faster, and guys got to be able to move, even the big guys.
They've transitioned from a 4-3 to a 3-4 and several multiple looking fronts over the years. What's your experience in different formations? What are you most comfortable with?
I've coached them all. When you're the D-line guy, you just kind of do what you're told, and you kind of, the nature of our beast is you move around a few places, and whatever the coordinator has, whatever he's comfortable with, it's my job to make his job easier. So I've coached multiple fronts. I don't think it'll be an issue.
You have a previous relationship with Bradley Del Pivito. I'm kind of curious, did you reach out to him and ask him about the Kentucky football in general?
I've reached out to him. He hadn't answered my call, but that's not unusual. But he's great. I saw him at the convention this past January, him and his wife, and I've been known him forever. Coach P was my defensive coordinator back in college, and he's been a mentor to me over the years, and we still keep in touch whenever he answers the phone. And but what a great guy. I know he spent some time here, and just his short time here, I've met about 10 people already who's mentioned his name, so he's definitely made a mark.
Derrick, you played offense and defense in college.
Yes.
Does that help you in teaching your defensive line?
I think so. I played 3A football in high school where you played everything. You played both ways, Ironman football, so to speak. And I went to college and got recruited as a defensive lineman, and had a few old linemen go down and had to go and play center or guard and double dip for about 2 or 3 years of my college career. And when you go and play one side, then you got to go one-on-ones and protect on the other side. You kind of learn what each other's doing, and I got to learn offense and defense. So I think for me as a D-line coach, it's the best benefit I have.
What about Lexington stands out to you the most in the short time you've been here?
You know, I'm trying to figure out those broken yellow lines on the road and which lane I'm supposed to be in. I've had the hardest time over the past few days of figuring that part out, but I think I've got it. You know, Lexington's great, and I've been I'm staying downtown right now, so I've got a chance to kind of walk around the square and check out some places. And but the people are wonderful. Everybody's been hospitable. I'm house hunting. My wife has me house hunting, which is harder than coaching football, I promise you. And but I've been able to get out and see the place. I can't wait till springtime. I'm sure the place is beautiful in the spring, and looking forward to making this home.
Derrick, you can't mention recruits' names, obviously, but what's the benefit that you see coming from your past, coming Saturday, having a recruiting event at a basketball game with the gravity of Kentucky versus Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Does that benefit in recruiting, having that big a stage to bring in players?
Oh goodness, you should have seen out the kids here in the seats. They were engaged. They were into it. They had a great time, and they were kids. You know, you get into this business of recruiting, and it's somewhat overwhelming for the kids sometimes. But you get them in the arena, you get them in a good basketball environment, and you get them to the concession stand, and they buy a little popcorn and a drink, and they're just like the rest of us. They're just enjoying hoops. You know, it was good to see.
Anything else?
Thanks a lot.
So much.
Mm-hmm.